The chandelier's soft glow did little to warm the room. It hung there like a fragile crown, casting fractured light over the mahogany table where secrets had always been served alongside the silverware. I hadn't set foot in this Seattle mansion in 2 years, not since they'd shipped me off to Kyoto like an inconvenient package. Now, back in the Hayes family home on Mercer Island, the air felt thicker, laced with the familiar scent of polished oak and unspoken resentments. I adjusted my blouse in the hallway mirror, catching a glimpse of my reflection, sharper eyes, a quieter mouth, shaped by endless tea ceremonies where silence wasn't weakness but a weapon. Victoria, my mother, glided past in her tailored black dress, her pearls clicking like a countdown. She didn't hug me, didn't say welcome home. Just, sit pretty tonight, Emily. No talking. We've got this handled. Her voice was velvet over steel, the kind that cut without drawing blood. I followed her into the dining room, where everything screamed forced perfection. Tall white candles flickered. Orchids lined the center like silent sentinels, and the good china gleamed under the light. My father, Richard, stood at the head, shaking hands with Ms. Yamamoto, our Japanese guest from Tokyo's elite real estate firm. She wasn't imposing in stature, but her presence filled the space, charcoal suit with subtle silk accents, her gaze steady as a blade. She nodded to me, and I returned it with the precision I'd learned abroad. Alexander, my older brother, lounged against the bar cart, swirling bourbon like it was his birthright. He shot me a smirk. Look who's back from her little Zen retreat. Try not to embarrass us, sis. I ignored him, folding my hands in my lap as Laura, the hired interpreter, stepped forward. Her American accent was flawless, rehearsed to blandness. Richard launched into his praise for Ms. Yamamoto's firm, touting synergies in Pacific Northwest developments. Laura translated smoothly, but I caught the edges. Ms. Yamamoto's responses in precise Kyoto-inflected Japanese carried layers, metaphors trimmed like bonsai. When she complimented the home's rigid harmony, Laura softened it to elegant and spacious. My gut twisted. That wasn't praise, it was a subtle jab at our family's unyielding pride. Richard nodded obliviously, beaming. Alexander chuckled with the lawyers at his side. I sat still, but my mind raced. Kyoto had taught me, silence isn't empty. It's a map of intentions. Ms. Yamamoto's eyes flicked to mine, a brief pause. Enough to know she sensed I understood. The appetizers arrived, seared ahi tuna on wasabi foam, and I leaned toward Victoria. The translation's missing the nuance, I whispered. Her hand clamped my arm. Smile fixed. Don't start. This deal's too fragile for your opinions. Fragile? It was built on sand. I pulled back, pulse hammering, but kept my face neutral. They didn't want me here as an equal, just a prop. The well-traveled daughter who knew her place. Ms. Yamamoto spoke again. About heritage crossing oceans like migratory birds. Laura turned it into vague talk of global ties. The real words hinted at roots that could wither in foreign soil. I catalogued it all, every flattened metaphor. Every glance Alexander exchanged with Richard like they were sealing side bets. The main course, miso-glazed salmon, landed with a clink. And Ms. Yamamoto asked directly. In Japanese, have you ever sealed a bond with ink that fades? Laura, she's eager for partnership. Lie. It was a probe about trust's fragility. Ms. Yamamoto's gaze met mine again. I nodded subtly. Laura noticed, her eyes narrowing, a silent standoff. The dinner dragged, each bite tasting like ash. Memories flooded. At 12, I'd corrected Richard during a client call, only to be shooed away with a laugh. Help with dessert. Sweetie. Now. It was the same script. Amplified. Alexander whispered to Laura. Both smirking. Richard avoided my eyes. Victoria's grip on her fork tightened when I shifted. They feared my voice because it pierced their facade. MS. Yamamoto's next line, trust worn thin stains like spilled tea. Laura, excited about collaboration. I bit back a smile. MS. Yamamoto saw me, really saw me. As dessert plates cleared, green tea panna cotta, I felt the shift. This wasn't hospitality. It was a chessboard. And I'd been demoted to pawn. But Kyoto had made me a queen in waiting. Her questions sliced through the polite hum like a hidden blade. MS. Yamamoto turned to me mid-conversation. Her voice soft but unyielding in Japanese. Have you watched Loyalty Fracture under a polished smile? The room stalled, forks paused. Breaths held. Laura hesitated. Then, she appreciates the warm welcome. My spine ignited. That was no compliment. It was an indictment of false fronts. MS. Yamamoto's eyes locked on mine. Waiting. I nodded once, I hear you. A flash, kneeling on tatami in Gion. My mentor whispering. Questions in Kyoto carry dual blades, one for show, one for the heart. The chatter resumed. But I was unmoored. MS. Yamamoto pressed on about business loyalty. Laura, inquiring on long-term ties. Reality. Do you entrust your path to those who veil truths in silk? Alexander snorted. Already counting profits. I leaned to Richard. She's not saying that. He sipped wine. Muttered. Let the pros handle it. Don't kill the vibe. Victoria's hand found my wrist again. Too big to risk. Stay out. The words hollowed me out years in Kyoto. Mastering syllables. Cultures. Negotiations. All reduced to decor. I was 12 again. Dismissed. But deeper. This was exile disguised as opportunity. They'd sent me away not to grow, but to fade. I recalled flipping through a forwarded investor report in Kyoto. Alexander splashed across pages as the air. Me erased. An email glitch revealed Richard's words. Let her chase culture. Alex runs this. Kyoto hadn't broken me, it rebuilt me. Hosts who listened. Professors who empowered. Invisibility comes when you outgrow their cage, my mentor said. Back home. No fanfare, just orders to smile warmly. Tonight. Laura bungled an honorific. I opened my mouth. Victoria, sit. Alexander pitched deals like snake oil. I realized this dinner was his coronation. Me the silenced witness. They feared not my ignorance, but my insight. MS. Yamamoto spoke of invisible ink on deeds. Laura sanitized it. I set down my fork. Not yet. But in my mind. A ledger grew, distortions. Exaggerations. Nods to half-truths. They'd honed me for this. Then muzzled me. Roots in Kyoto ran deep now. I wouldn't surrender, I'd strike. The tension thickened like fog-off Puget Sound as plates cleared. Wine refilled. But the room soured. MS. Yamamoto inquired about land titles, all notarized and transferred? Richard, absolutely. As agreed. Lie. I'd prepped those docs, signatures missing. Deeds flagged draft. My breath caught. Victoria's face stayed serene. Alexander texted under the table. This was fraud. Plain and federal. I murmured, I need more wine. Victoria, the Napa cab. I slipped out. Not for the cellar. But the study. Locked. But I'd memorized the code, Victoria's birth year. Overheard weeks ago. Inside. The negotiation binder mocked me. Incomplete transfers. Red annotations. Do not disclose. Multi-millions hinged on this deceit. I pocketed a copied appendix. Muttering, not misunderstanding. Set up. Back at the table. Richard toasted. I interjected casually, land finalized today. Or still draft like last week. Silence splintered. Richard laughed tightly, finalized. Victoria, not table talk. Dear. Alexander smirked, why we keep files from you. Laughter rippled, condescending waves. But MS. Yamamoto's eyes sharpened. Recognition. I sat back. Ledger expanding. They wanted war? I'd wage it whisper quiet. Devastating. The lounge hummed with after-dinner haze. Scotch swirling. Threats veiled as toasts. Alexander played bartender. Scotch or cab. MS. Yamamoto, water. Victoria cooed, your subtlety impresses. I lingered in shadows. Eyes on the gift box by the fireplace, ivory wrapped. Meant to be the authentic Kyoto lacquer I'd sourced. But sharper edges betrayed the fake. Swapped by Victoria, she'll never know. Gesture matters. No, in Japan. The item is the soul. MS. Yamamoto ignored it. Intentional? My glass trembled. Lies stacked. Fake gift. Doctored contracts. Staged warmth. Alexander toasted partnership. I stood. Shame the original box isn't here. It better reflected our honor. Freeze. Alexander midpour. Victoria, you misrecall. I have the receipt. Silence shattered like crystal. Alexander slammed his glass. Always the know-it-all. Hijacking. Victoria, no scenes tonight. Damage bloomed. MS. Yamamoto examined the box. Set it down. Gifts mirror the giver's soul. She pushed it to Alexander. Air thinned. Richard silent. Victoria, this isn't family. Then stop treating me like the outsider. Truth landed raw. I won't abet deception in gifts or promises. Alexander, dramatic. Victoria, jet lag. MS. Yamamoto rose. Bowed subtly to me. The meeting wasn't over. The fallout had begun. The envelope burned in my pocket as I paced my room that night. MS. Yamamoto's card inside, a quiet thank you, and coordinates for a private call. But first, the recorder. I'd found it in the drawer planted, capturing last night's mockery. Victoria's coaching. Document her tone, she'd said, framing me as unstable. Overheard calls, her concern phase, document if needed. They weren't silencing, they were sabotaging. I emailed my Kyoto mentor. Naomi, timeline of slights. Thefts. Cultural distortions illegal here. Testimony ready. I redacted my memo, facts only, mistranslations. Clauses buried. My work stolen. Sent to MS. Yamamoto's office. Clarification. As I stepped outside. Victoria on the phone, she overstepped. Instability pattern. I confronted, filing board memo. You'd destroy us? You already did. Laptop secured. Files encrypted. Witness no more liability. The conference room reeked of desperation, leather and orchids masking panic. Richard fidgeted. Alexander projected Vision 2025. I entered last. Envelope in hand. MS. Yamamoto sat regal. Team stoic. Alexander pitched. She halted. No English. Laura stepped up. MS. Yamamoto cut in Japanese. Bloom sweet. Soil poisoned. Laura, honored. Appearances please. Foundation rots. Eyes whipped. MS. Yamamoto nodded. Alexander, English only. Clean things fear native truth. I translated. Chill deepened. She slid transcripts, inconsistencies. Breaches. Then the card, lies wrought ribbons, thieves soil silk. She knew. MS. Hayes. Read your memo in Japanese first. I did, every theft. Distortion. Gap. Alexander, joke. Your pretense ends. Victoria paled. Richard stared. You made me invisible, I said. But I became your threat. MS. Yamamoto, truth without rage preserves peace. She stood, no signing. Private proposal forthcoming. Empire cracked. The mansion's silence clawed echoes of slammed doors. Hushed accusations. Richard growled in his study. Victoria's tone leaked cold. Alexander vanished. Scheming. I overheard, ruined us for pride. I revealed you. He ungrateful, we let you in. I stole my work. Framed me. Hours later. Call, deal dead. MS. Yamamoto pulled everything. Market dipped 6 points, rumors of ethics breach. PR scrambled. That night. Victoria, you're no family. We stopped pretending. Richard slid termination papers. I signed. Envelope in my coat, MS. Yamamoto's invite, Kyoto strategist. Autonomy. I packed. Stepped onto the porch. Breeze sharp. Letter clutched. They pushed me out. The world welcomed me in. 2 days post-walkout. The estate mourned, whispers. Averted eyes. Dawn meeting, Richard desperate. Spin the breach. Alexander paced. I listened outside. Her fault. I entered. Truth embarrassed you. Deal buried. Afternoon call, MS. Yamamoto's warning, clarity costs, then offer, lead cultural bridge program. Evening. Victoria, retract salvage. You killed what you housed. Alexander, run to Japan? To those who see me. Lawyer, release shares. Drop name. I signed. Handed my envelope, ethical violations detailed. Blood isn't bond, action is. Bags carried out. Car waited. Envelope in pocket, mentor's note, lose everything to speak truth. They watched from windows. No goodbyes. Fine. I wasn't mourning, I was free. The boxes unpacked slowly in my Kyoto apartment, journals. Fans. Memories reframed. Sunlight slanted over rooftops. Birds chattering. Tea-steeped matcha bitter. Mornings now, calm work. No tension. Colleagues valued silence as space. Not submission. Workshop, silence hides or reveals. Notes taken like scripture. Emails, client requests for my guidance. Letters arrived. Victoria's resignation, your path. Not ours. Alexander's blank email, deleted unread. Host family visit, new fan for who you are. Silence full. Understood. No performance. This isn't revenge, I whispered. Restoration. Last name kept? No, dropped. River walk, letting go isn't weak. Voicemail to Richard, done. Not angry. Number deleted. Inheritance, my voice. Stage lights warmed. Inviting. Heels clicked to center, conference crowd, leaders. Students. Listening. To be heard. First be disbelieved. I spoke, silence as weight. Ethics and intention. Damage of distorted diplomacy. Anonymized tales. But timelines clear. Headlines erupted, Sterling, now haze-free, ethics fire. Richard stepped down. Alexander's thefts exposed, my thesis quoted as his. Victoria distanced. Board apology, permanent. Invites flooded, ethics curricula. Bookstore, my face on bridging without bending. Girl, worth losing family? I found myself. Estate sold, ghosts too heavy. Final scene, Richard watching my speech. Quiet. Book placed beside him. They taught silence, I taught the world to hear. Applause rose solid. True. No translation needed.